Tell us about Officer Eric Whitehead.
This fine, Joe. SPD is just on a roll in January. They're going to try and break their own record for, dumb shit, apparently. Excuse my language. So on January 15th, Officer Eric Whitehead actually, who is now under investigation by the OPA, refused to wear a mask when going to a hospital to get a statement from an assault victim. So the article we have on the website, it's an unnamed hospital, but it's believed to be Harborview just because that is where, most of assault victims are taken in the Seattle area. And so he blatantly refused to put on a mask despite positive patients nearby and standing in what was considered to be a high traffic hallway. He had to be asked by staff multiple times. He kept throwing away masks that they give him, which was a huge deal because of ongoing PPE shortages, especially within the medical community. And so the nurse finally escalates this charge to the charge nurse, and he becomes belligerent, condescending, but finally agrees to temporarily put on a mask. But he said that he would take it off when speaking with the victim, not only putting anybody else around them at risk, but also the victim who's just gone through assault, putting them in potential risk of contracting COVID. Again, our article on the website states that no hospital was identified, but they do think it was Harborview. And so this is just like one of many instances where, SPD has done some kind of egregious things that have been reported, including complaining that they were not offered packaged snacks at Harborview, even though Harborview, basically because they found that COVID was transmitted easily through food, did away with even having single servage packages of food. But one of the worst parts of all of this comes from Safe Seattle. Dave Preston basically went out and attacked this nurse that reported this Officer Whitehead, as a snitch. So here we have this very belligerent, condescending person in a position of authority going to interview an assault victim at a large hospital in a high traffic hallway where there are COVID positive patients around, essentially refusing to wear a mask and completely disrespecting all protocol and all safety measures to protect not only himself, but the other people around him.
Yeah, not only did Dave Preston call her a snitch, he called her a liar, and not because she hesitated on whether he got the name right, but Dave Preston, before OPA made their statement, was like, I've talked to people on the inside and they told me, they've given me the real story and it's nowhere near bad as portrayed. And then a few hours later, OPA, Meyerberg from OPA came out and said, we've seen the security video and it's way worse than what the nurse said. So Dave Preston, are the police lying then? Right? Because who's lying, Dave? And Dave Preston's the guy who started this rumor in September of 2019 about the murder in Beacon Hill with the severed head. And that wasn't true either.
Yeah, because he didn't understand natural decomposition. That was, what kind of a person, I was going to say something worse, but I won't. What kind of person do you have to be to basically go out there and use your platform to call a nurse who basically was trying to express concerns about the behavior of a police officer who's, supposed to be, serve and protect, not protecting the health of not only himself and the people who are working in the hospital, but the patients as well. And to call her a snitch and a liar, that takes a lot of guts. I'm trying to watch.
You know what the number one killer for police officers was on duty in 2020? COVID.
Yeah.
I just work here. Carrie, I saw your comment about your grandmother, if I remember serving correct. I know it went by a few minutes ago. We were doing this story on our 5 Fast Facts earlier, and Carrie said lost a parent to Alzheimer's. Not grandparent, apologies, but a parent to Alzheimer's, and feels that the inability to visit, the ability to to have those interactions accelerated their decline.
Wow.
So there you go. We will continue to track the Eric Whitehead story, along with the about literally dozen other stories that have come out about Seattle police officers and just this growing list of OPA investigations. Did you watch any of Omari and his interview with Meyerberg from the OPA?
I did not. When was that?
I really encourage anybody, go to Converge Media. It was last week, or was it on Tuesday? So one of the mods put the date up there. I don't want to get the date wrong. I really encourage. I watched it. I know there were people who were like, they didn't like Meyerberg. They didn't like his attitude. It wasn't the greatest interview for him. But the biggest takeaway from me is how worthless OPA is. As Meyerberg, kind of explained, I'm in this really tight little box, and that's all we can do. And Jennifer, a great example of this, I read the OPA findings on the inaccurate tweet about the IED candles. And in a functioning system, if you're interviewing the person and you conclude that the person who sent the tweet, because that is who OPA went after, was pressured to send a tweet, in a functional organization for oversight, they would then go to the supervisor, the person that said, no, send that fucking tweet.
What's the F-bomb? This is written.
Right? And they would investigate that person. But the OPA doesn't have any authority to kind of go down the holes. So at the end of the day, what the finding is, which of course the Chuds,
it's a cannibalistic humanoid underground dweller,
will jump onto is, well, they found out there was no wrongdoing. But when you actually read the report, it's like, oh, this is really shitty. Not only is it shitty, it's like scary shitty. And I know I'm rehashing something we talked about in the last show. Jennifer, thank you for the Whitehead story. And I think we're going to do a little pause for the cause, and then we're going to move on to our next story. And on the subject of that, because I haven't brought it up yet, if you haven't done it, like, follow, share. It helps us grow. And the other thing is, spam those hearts. Let those mods and admins know that you really appreciate the work they do. Our mods, admins, research team, and editors are paid in hearts. And with that, we will go ahead and do a little pause for the cause.
Okay.